How alone is too alone for gay men? I'm Ken Howard, and I've been a gay men's specialist, psychotherapist, and coach for 34 years now. And as part of my Dear Ken letter series, I'd like to show you a note that I got from Rick in London. And Rick in London says, I'm a pretty independent life, and I'm proud of it, but sometimes I wonder if I've made it too easy to be alone. I don't feel unhappy, but I'm not deeply connected either. How do I know if that's a problem? Well, I think, part of knowing if something's a problem is, does it feel like a problem? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So the DSM, the Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders in the US from the American Psychiatric Association, says that in order for a mental disorder to be a disorder, it's got to cause some kind of trouble. It's got to cause an undermining of your social or your occupational functioning. In other words, it's got to be painful, usually to yourself, once in a while to others. But it also, if something is maybe that you notice about yourself, but it's not necessarily causing any harm, then it's probably not cause for concern. But it sounds like from your note, there is some cause for concern, that there's something that you're trying to balance between the independence of solidarity and yet the social connectedness. Now, a lot of different things can, influence this. People on the autism spectrum disorder might have feelings about how much they relate to other people versus wanting to be alone. Do they have something going on with how comfortable they feel in social settings? Or people with a social phobia or social anxiety might have a negative fear of evaluation by others in social settings. And maybe that's to a lesser or greater degree. There's some personality disorders that avoid people in general, but none of those sound real serious, Rick. I would need to know more about how these things affect you to kind of say too much more about that. But I think you're probably getting at balance. So if we're always with people, we might not have the opportunity to sit and reflect and even just accomplish things on our own. Leave me alone. I'm trying to work. But also, if we're too isolated, then we might not know what it's like to interact, to share our emotional life with others, and to share the world around us with others. Lately, I've noticed that in addition to the obvious gay apps, worldwide, like Scruff or Grinder or Tinder or others, those are mainly for hookup apps, but I also think they're also about sexting or texting. It's the way gay men connect. More recently, very recently, I've noticed there's a proliferation of gay men's social groups. Some very entrepreneurial people are starting social groups for a monthly membership fee or something where they get groups of gay men together for dinner or for some kind of an outing. And those might be fun to try. Or some of the organizations that go hiking or camping, or of course the sports like kickball or softball. You hear a lot about those, and that would be an opportunity for interacting with others in small to moderate size groups beyond just going out to, a bar or a club in your local area. Reflection about what you need to adjust in life is a big part of life coaching. Is your sex life exhausting because it's so active, or is it frustrating because it's not enough? Or are you working not enough and you're underemployed? Or are you working too much and you feel like a workaholic? And again, with people or time alone. It's about balance. And sometimes life coaching and even therapy can be a discussion of what is out of balance in your life that we need to look at and pay attention and give energy to in order to make that adjustment. It's like an abacus. You slide the little thing on the scale between too much or too little. And that's part of what we call self-regulation. So think about how you might interact with others and how much you might need to just make friends with yourself in being alone and finding things that you enjoy in the peace and quiet of solidarity. Hope that helps.